What's going on, people? How are we? Hope we're all living a dream and looking forward to Christmas. I myself am and not. No, I'm joking. No, it's good to kind of close out the year with a video sort of thing. So yeah, I thought I'd do that. I apologize for not uploading for a while. It's just been a few things happening behind the scenes life-wise, but it is what it is. We just keep it moving. So yeah. In this video, as you can tell by the title, I am just going to give my own recommended list of 5 modifications that I feel are vital for an FN2. Mainly aimed towards new owners, right? Especially if you bought your car standard, which I did. I bought my car completely standard. And yeah, it's just to kind of tighten up on weaknesses and enhance at the same time. Now, it's worth noting as well, before we go forward with the list, that these are not, apart from one, these are modifications that are relatively affordable. And if I can remember correctly, apart from one, again, unless you have access to the tools to do it, they're all things that you can do at home. So, yeah. I've also got notes on my phone, so I don't forget, so I stay to a script. But yeah, we'll just kind of go into it. Now, before I mention any kind of modifications, and some of these modifications are essentially changes, not modifications, maintenance is key. Mods over maintenance every day of the week. Sorry, let me try that again. Maintenance over mods every day of the week. Maintenance is key. And without maintenance, don't even think about modifications. If your car's due a service and you've got £200 to spend, don't look at spacers, yeah? Look at your servicing kit. Honestly, there's no point in modifying and adding to a car and making changes to a car that aren't essential when it's not even looked after. There's stuff on it that's broken or needs to be changed, yeah? Always have that in mind. The first one on my list, and these aren't in any particular order, they're not by importance or anything like that, they're just ones that I know I did and I realized straight away when I had the car, is brakes. Now, as you can probably, those that are subscribed to my channel know that I did a long-term review on my Brembo 4-pot brakes. I'm not even talking about that. I'm really not, because with a decent set of pads and discs, and braid lines as well, and fluid, you can actually have decent brakes for these cars. It's fine. It's still a 290mm disc on the FN2, so it should be fine. I immediately went from, I think there were Brembo pads at the front before, like when I bought the car, which were terrible, by the way. I can't recommend Brembo pads. I know there's people out there that have them. It's just not for me. But yeah, I went with red stuff pads, standard red stuff pads, and M-Tech C-hook, they say C but it looks like J, C-hook discs at the front. I didn't change the lines. In fact, the standard rubber hoses that were on the car are still on my big brake kit, which I will eventually change, just, you know, for the sake of it, but I haven't done that yet. I changed the brake fluid as well to, geez, I can't even remember. There was AET, and then there was also, I can't remember the other one. I'll put a picture of it, yeah, up on the screen so you can see which one. But yeah, I did that, and yeah, the brakes were really, really good. The standard brakes, yeah, for what they are, for what they were good. Another thing as well is worth mentioning with brakes is that the calipers do tend to stick. With that in mind, be prepared to either refurbish them yourself if you're more than confident enough to buy a kit on eBay and do so, then cool, go for it. Or you can reach out, there's a person on Facebook, I believe his name is Dean, I can't remember his surname, but he does refurbished kits and he has a really, 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 really good reputation. So reach out to him. If need be. I apologize, I forget your name. The next one, lowering springs. Now this one is kind of part and parcel with other stuff too. They are the perfect compromise, in my opinion, of performance, looks, and comfort, right? Depending on which ones you get, in my opinion. I got Tane one, so it lowers the front by 15 mil and lowers the back by 20 mil. I imagine it's the reason why it's lower at the back than it is at the front is because there's more weight at the front. Obviously you got the engine sitting there and everything like that, so yeah. And it keeps it a real nice balanced look. Yeah, it's very, very, very good. I loved those springs. They were very good. I did have a tricky time installing it because the drop links were done. So if you're going to do lowering springs, especially if your car's standard, I would actually basically change the drop links whilst you're there. Okay, they're not expensive. You can actually get okay ones for about 15 to 20 pounds. I mean, you don't have to go crazy and get hard race adjustable ones, and even then that's unnecessary because you're not going to get the car corner balance. So unless you were going to do that, I don't know, whatever. But I would just get drop links too. It's something that you can do by yourself. I would actually advise you do it by yourself because you'll save yourself a lot of money in labor, a lot of money. If you have the space to do so, then yeah, for sure. Another thing as well is worth mentioning, if your shocks are good, then you're okay. If your shocks don't really compress or they're starting to weep, change it whilst you're there. Believe me, there's no point in putting lowering springs on shocks. Ask me how I know. And top mounts start to creak as well, so whilst you're there, again, look into that. I know I say these are quite relatively affordable, and they are, like lowering springs are, but if you have done your homework before you buy the car, i.e. if you've checked to make sure that your shock absorbers aren't weeping, and essentially that you don't have cracked springs, even though you would be changing them if you were to follow this list, then you'd be okay. Lowering springs, I think I paid £150 a couple years ago, if not a little bit longer ago, for my lowering springs. So yeah, and they were very good. I was very impressed. Yeah, so cool. I did actually put in my notes, actually, just to add on, that you can get camber bolts as well, which are really quite cheap, and rear shims if you wanted to get the car aligned, which I highly recommend. But if you don't, it's fine. You can still do lowering springs and all that stuff, but it's definitely worth getting an alignment. If you've been messing around with your suspension, I would say it's vital. Now, this one is quite expensive if you're going new and if you're getting someone installing it for you, which is a double din radio. Now again, I did a long-term review on my one and Android Auto because I am a Android boy. It is good. You can, if you look up for like second-hand double din radios maybe sold on eBay, or again I say Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, they are very, 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 very good. And especially if your car is a daily, it's the perfect companion for when you're going or doing anything in your car. Genuinely mean that, right? Even if you're using Apple CarPlay, perfect, trust me. And the most important thing is that it brings your speakers to life. Trust me, like it really, really, really does. You think the speakers are trash when the standard radio is there, even if you try and turn out the boost and mess around with the whatever equalizers built into it. They're not. They're actually good. I rate them highly. I know there's a lot of people that don't, but I definitely rate them highly. If you wanted to, you can install it yourself. You definitely can. I didn't have the patience for it, so I got someone to install it for me, along with a microphone and everything like that. Again, I did a whole video on that, but I recommend a double din radio for sure, for sure. Spacers, okay. Now this one, again, it's a very easy mod to do, but it's, if you want your, because the thing is I find quite annoying with actually quite a few cars, right, not even just Type R, is that from factory, wheels are so tucked into the arch. So you've got like, this is say like the wheel arch, and this is the wheel, and the wheel's like here, and you're like, why? Why can't the wheel just be here even, or here? I don't know if that's making sense. But yeah, it's very, I don't get it. Spacers changed the look of the car completely, like it really does, and it doesn't make your handling worse. If anything, it holds the road better. It tram lines less. That's what I found straight away when driving the car. Very, very good. Very, very good. And I strongly recommend Tegiwa spacers. They're the ones I have. I have 15mm at the front, 20mm at the back. I've even got one to put on my, to replace one of the ones at the front, because someone, Dad, stripped one of the bolts on it. So yeah. And shout out to Johnny Tegiwa for sorting me out one. That's great. That's also for a very good price as well. So yeah, and by the way, the bolt thing isn't a build quality problem. It's because my dad was impatient and very, very, very heavy-handed. So yeah, spacers are essential, 100%. In my opinion, definitely. There isn't. I don't have a bad word to say about them. Nothing. This one is. I was gonna say last but not least, and I haven't saved the best till last, but it's definitely important. Tyres. Now, I bought my car with budget tyres on the front and some extremely old Goodyear tyres on the back. And whilst the car handled good compared to what I was used to before, which was a Mark 5 Astra, so no real like competition there. The difference when I put asymmetric 5s, Goodyear asymmetric 5s on the front and the rear, like when I changed all of the tyres, was night and day. Like it was very vast, very, very vast. And the reason why I say tyres, and a lot of people be like, oh yeah, well, if it's got good tread, I'm just gonna use it. Well, here's the thing, you've bought a Civic Type R. It is a performance car. You want the best out of it. Why would you then have crap tyres on it? Just ask yourself that question, honestly. Would you not want to know what your car can do? What its limits are? Even if it is on the road, it doesn't matter. It's still important. And generally speaking, there are other tyres out there. Like I'm using PS4s, which are definitely the most expensive out of the two I've tried, which are asymmetric 5s and PS4s. But you still got like Bridgestones, which are in the same price bracket, if not more, than the Michelins. But you've got other ones that are just slightly under. I think they're Avon ones. It's not even like I'm a brand snob. For me, I know I'm gonna have this car and I know how I use the car, so I'll get the best for that car. That's just my ethos. And I would never judge anyone for even having budget tyres on their car, because I've had budget tyres on cars before. But for this car, tyres makes a world of difference, and it's very important. It is very important. There's no way I can sit here and say like, oh, you know, tyres ain't that deep. You know, you can get away with it as long as you got good tread and you pass MOT, you're good. No, it goes further than just passing MOT or being legal or getting your money's worth. And by the way, people, don't get offended if you do by what I'm saying. It's just my opinion, okay? And there are always ways of getting things that are affordable, okay? Even if you have to do, like, for example, 1 month I actually changed the front tires because I can only afford to change the front tires that month, and the next month I changed the rears too. You don't have to do it all at the same time. And if you really wanted to, you can go on Black Circles and buy them one by one each month, budget it if you need to, and then when you're ready, fit them all. It's that, just do it according to your own pockets. No one else is watching it, and no one knows your own money but you. So yeah. And with that being said, that's my top 5 mods. My top 5 essential mods for FN2, for sure. And before I go, obviously this will be released before Christmas Day. So I do want to wish everyone that has subscribed to me and anyone watching this video a great Christmas and a great New Year. Merry Christmas. Take it easy.